This is part 2 of our 3-part series on growing microgreens and sprouts. Today we're going to talk about planting and watering, and at the end of the video we taste our corn shoot microgreens. So I've laid the hydroponic growing medium in this first tray, and now I'm just going to get it wet and let it soak up the water while we fill the second tray with a potting mix. Now the potting mix you actually want really close to the surface because you want to make the microgreens easy to cut. When they're ready to harvest, you cut them at the base of the growing medium. And so you kind of have to fill it pretty full and then tamp it down because you want a nice even seed bed. And you also want it a little firm. On that note, can you reuse the soil?
No, you don't want to reuse the soil for really 2 reasons. One is just bacterial. I mean, there's mold in the air all the time. Right now it's all around us. And so over time that builds up. So your likelihood of spreading or having an issue is greater, for one. And 2, you'll see as you grow these, they're going to be very root intensive. So you're growing a lot of material in a small amount of space. And so when you get to that point of harvest, when you look, you're going to see that your soil is very bound up in roots. So it's really almost not going to be reusable. There's not a lot of advantage to that, but it is great for your compost pile. So just take it outside, add it to your compost pile, work it back in. So
that's great. And then can you also compost the hydroponic material?
Some hydroponic materials you can, most you can. There are a few that are more of a polyester based, and those really aren't going to break down. But a lot of your paper based or hemp based, coir based mediums, then yeah, for sure.
You can really just coat the whole bottom of the growing medium with seeds. You don't want the seeds on top of each other because you don't want them kind of crowded. Little tiny parsley seeds, they're so cute. There's pros and cons to both the hydroponic growing medium as well as the potting mix. With the hydroponic, it's great because at the end when you have your microgreens, you can literally lift it out and cut it right off. You want a really even seed bed. And a lot of times the hydroponics, it's not quite as even as the soil. The potting soil will kind of hold the seeds in place and you can kind of pat them down. And some of you might be surprised to know that you don't have to have special microgreen seeds. They're the same seeds that you would just grow in your garden. You can just buy bags of seed, which is more economical and easier than these little packets. How many trays do you recommend a home microgreens grower starting with?
I would start really honestly with just 1 or 2. The number one mistake people make is you grow them in that first time and you're hesitant to use them. I mean, that's why you're growing them, is to eat them and use them, and you should be eating them and using them all the time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just start with a couple, get the flow of it, use it, to eat it every day, taste it every day, put it on everything. I put it on my eggs and put it in a sandwich and just spread it all over. Yeah, it's delicious, right? And so use it, and then you learn, oh yeah, I really like it on this application, I really like it here, and I like it at this phase versus that phase.
The interesting thing to note about the hydroponic growing medium is that obviously microgreens don't need soil to get their nutrients. So all of the nutrients to grow are in the tiny little seed, little powerhouses of life. Another thing about microgreens is most seeds you don't need to bury. They'll root and grow just laid on top like this. All right, everyone, so we've got all our seeds planted. Now let's talk about watering. We're gonna water our microgreens twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. We're in an office, so we'll water them when we come in the morning and then right before we leave work. We're going to be implementing a technique called bottom watering. What you do is you lift up the little 5x5s and you just pour water into the bottom of the tray. And it soaks up through the soil, so we're not going to be actually watering these from the top. The trick is that the 1020s are ribbed, and you do want the water to be able to come up through the 5x5s. So it's a little tricky on getting the water right for the bottom water method. However, I am going to spray them a little bit just to give them a little kickstart here. It's always nice to have a spray bottle nearby just in case you notice it's getting a little dry, if you feel like you need to add more water. Okay everyone, sprouts are super easy. You take 1 tablespoon, and this is clover, radish, and mustard. 1 tablespoon, and this is the 3-part salad mix, and this is alfalfa, radish, and broccoli. You soak the seeds for about 4 to 8 hours, and then you drain off the water, and then all you do is rinse them twice a day. When you rinse them, you want to turn them upside down in this, we brought this bowl so that the excess water can drain off. The sprouts can become more easily contaminated, more so than greens. And so a lot of people will add a tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide to the soaking water just to kill any bacteria that might be on the seeds. These are quality organic seeds, so I'm not going to bother with that. That's it. That's all you do for sprouts. Super easy. And what powerhouses of nutrition. So it's been 1 week that these have been growing in the office here. These are our corn sprouts. Or they're not the sprouts, the corn microgreens. Rob told us they would be like this bright green.
I didn't know they'd be this tall.
I think these got really leggy and long because they were searching for light, so they grew really fast. I was really surprised how fast these grew.
And how many days did it take?
This is 1 week, so we started these. And it's funny because the seeds were so tiny and hard. I was like, there is no way there's life in these things. I was surprised like I didn't have to add as much water because I think just because it was covered, it didn't evaporate as fast.
Right.
So
I forgot.
look at that. Look at those roots coming out the bottom. That's crazy. Roots
Yeah,
will
it was
find
kind
a
of
way.
bitter at first.
Are they?
Yeah, but then it gets really, really, really sweet, and it just keeps getting sweeter. That's the thing that kind of surprises me about the microgreens that we've tried so far, is that the flavor just kind of continues to like change in your mouth after you eat it. And I don't know if it's because we're just paying such close attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're so focused on it, but what would you put this in? Would you just put it in a salad, or?
That's a good question. I was thinking the same thing.
Because it's so sweet.
Yeah.
They're really, really good.
Maybe you could put them in like tacos. I don't know.
Yeah. Like pork taco?
I would never even think to like sprout corn. Like corn is the last thing I would think to sprout.
Is the vitamin content high in these?
Mm-hmm. There's some microgreens are supposed to be really nutrient rich.
Yeah. You know, this would even be good, just chopped up and put fresh on top of pizza. You know, just
Oh
like
yeah,
plain
it
sheet
would be
pizza.
really good. Or a lot of Thai dishes have sprouts on top, and where this has that like crunchy texture that's really good in like noodle dishes.
You just watched part 2 of our 3-part series on microgreens and sprouts. Click on this video to watch part 3 and click here to subscribe to our channel.